Representative Alan West, Colonel West, thanks for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you a lot, Brian and Larry. Good morning to you.
So, boy, did they target you for your reelection, and look at what's happened now. You're in the middle of this recount debacle. Apparently, you're now down by 0.58%, which is not enough to trigger an automatic recount. But I'm hearing now that in some way they did a partial recount. Explain to me how they do a partial recount in a district for a race like this.
Well, first of all, you know what where this all emanated from was last week, election night, about 1 o'clock in the morning. You had about a 4,400 vote swing in a 30 to 35 minute period that took me from being ahead by about 2,000 votes to my opponent being ahead by about 2,400 votes. And the explanation was that from the supervisor of elections of St. Lucie County that she went back and recounted early votes that had already been counted. So last week, Saturday, against Florida Sunshine Law, she had a behind-the-closed-doors meeting of the canvassing board there, and they said that they would come out and do a full recount of early ballots on Sunday. But then the next thing you know, they start out Sunday and they only do a partial, which, again, is a violation of Florida statute. She has no justification in doing just a partial. But funny enough, gentlemen, that in that partial recount on Sunday, we picked up 535 votes. They ended up having an incredible discrepancy of about 800 to 1,000 votes that somehow just dropped out.
Wow.
And that margin is only 249 votes that will put us into an automatic recount. So the only thing we're asking for is a full recount of that early voting, which is where the problem is. And this is not about me. This is about the integrity of our electoral process, because if our voters cannot have trust and confidence in their vote being counted and cast in a fair and balanced way, then we're not the United States of America. We're not a constitutional republic, and the rule of law is being trampled upon.
Sounds like the courts need to get involved in this. Now, you have filed a lawsuit demanding this?
Yes, we did. We filed a lawsuit yesterday claiming the St. Lucie County Supervisor of Elections, Gertrude Walker, as a defendant, as well as the Secretary of State there. Although I will tell you that the Florida Secretary of State has sent down some auditors to St. Lucie County yesterday to look into this matter. So look, this is not about the results. It's about making sure that we have the right type of process, because if we do not clean this thing up, what's going to happen 2 years from now? What's going to happen 4 years from now?
Yeah, well, when you see a big swing like that in the last hours of the vote count, it's got to raise some questions about what the heck is going on. What do you suspect? Is there malfeasance, or is this just sloppiness?
Well, either one. If it is inept and incompetence, that's a bad thing. If it's corruption, that's another bad thing. If it's a combination of both, that's an even worse thing. You know, we have someone in Ms. Gertrude Walker where there were precincts where the sign-in logs do not match with the amount of ballots that were taken in and counted.
Stop right there. The sign-in logs don't match the number of votes cast?
Absolutely.
Well, how can that be?
Well, that's another one of the questions that we want to have answered.
There's
as well,
votes
in violation of Florida statute, she locked certain precincts and counted votes behind locked doors. So, you know, this is like I said, 22 years I spent in uniforms, and my father in World War II, my brother in Vietnam, my nephew now. You know, we did not serve and take an oath to this country and this Constitution to allow this to happen. So I think being a representative means that you have to stand up for the people and the most important right they have, and the right to vote.
I got to tell you, Congressman West, that smells to high heaven.
Well, and you know,
that's why we're making a stand. Like I said, not for me, but for the people there in Congressional District 18 and St. Lucie County, and truly for all of America.
Well, this is an American. We're hearing anecdotes from Ohio, from Philadelphia,
from Virginia.
Right. We're hearing them all over the place talking about all the, and it's all these isolated things, and it starts to get overwhelming because how do you pour into all of it? And that's why I think this is so important, Colonel West, because you've become the icon of this now. You represent all of these various anecdotes, all focused on one race. People are fired up about this. People think of you as an American hero. What can they do to help you?
I'm humble.
Well, they want to help.
Yeah, well, they can go to our website, AlanWestForCongress.com, and because we have started a recount fund, because you cannot use election funds, because this is a fight worth having. You know, if this ends up being our version of a Thermopylae to stand in the gap to try to save our democracy, this is where it has to be. And you know, it's very humbling that it seems that I'm on the front lines of this, but that's fine. we cannot allow this to continue on.
Well,
for our children and grandchildren.
In the meantime, what do you do? I mean,
well, Patrick Murphy is acting like the
he's acting like he's the
freshman.
Right,
so, are you both here on the Hill? What's happening practically?
Yeah. He came on up, and look, I'm not concerned about him if he is not focusing on the integrity of our electoral process. If he wants to make this more so about him and him winning, well, that's him. I cannot talk to his character. But my character is one that I have always taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution of this country. And even though I took off the uniform, I put on a suit and tie, that oath remains. And I will do what is necessary to ensure that we protect the integrity of the electoral process. And that's so important for us being a constitutional republic.
We'll continue to watch this very closely. And I want you to come to us with updates anytime you got something. But let me ask you, we just can't let this moment pass without asking your opinion about what you think about what's been going on with General Petraeus, now General Allen, and the continued investigation into what really happened in Benghazi.
Well, I have to tell you that we need to stay focused on what happened in Benghazi.
Yes, we do.
You had, an ambassador and a State Department official and 2 former Navy SEALs that lost their lives, and it cannot be the new normal that we lose ambassadors. I find it very unconscionable that this FBI investigation that has been going on, I guess, for 4 or 5 months, that no one knew about it, and all of a sudden it pops up right after the election, and we have a CIA director that resigns just Friday before he's supposed to come on Capitol Hill and testify about Benghazi.
Does that smell wrong to you? Does your instinct tell you there's something not quite right about that?
Yeah, the old commander says there's something wrong with that, and we don't need to have the distractions. We need to make sure that we get down to what is right and what happened in Benghazi. Just the same as we found out that we had 2 Iranian warplanes fire on a drone, after the election, but it was something that had happened about 5 or 6 days before.
What is your worst fear about all that?
The worst fear about all of this is that the new normal becomes the sideshow antics. That's my worst fear, that there are things happening in our country. As a matter of fact, no one's talking about the fact that the Obama administration signed on to the UN Arms Trade Treaty within 24 hours of the election being over, and that's going to have an incredible effect upon our Second Amendment rights. And, of course, treaties can only have to go through the Senate and straight to the White House. We need to stay focused on the issues and not get pulled away into the American Idol or Dancing with the Stars type of kabuki dance that we see.
Clearly, Colonel West, you didn't hear our Dancing with the Stars segment earlier in the show,
and
thank God you didn't. Yeah, all right. Thank you. This is why they want to silence this voice, Brian. You just heard.
That's exactly
Thank you,
right.
Colonel West. Keep us up to date, please.
We hope to have